All right. Hey people, back to Babbling Zoom, and I'm like stupid excited about something. Um, and again, babbling. I don't do scripts, I just talk, which is why they're stupid long. Let me share my screen and show you why I am like crazy excited about stuff. I think it's right here. There we go. I just watched a trailer to Entergalactic, right? And instantly I was just like, yo, this is crazy good. Just the art style, the animation is just it's so beautiful. I think it's running on for animation terms, I think it's running on three, so there's like a lot of jittering, but overall, this my mind was just like finally, we're back to this moment again. We're back to this moment in animation where, surprisingly, black people have an animation style. Uh so let me dive into black animation style in a way. Uh so when you kind of break it down, most of animation is centered around a lot of like white characters, right? Um, and you could even see just style alone, you could tell certain people have their own type of certain companies have their own style. There's the Hanna-Barbera style, there's the Disney style, there's the Warner Brothers style. Um, and everyone has like a certain way of drawing their characters. Even like if you look at the whole Batman animated universe, and the spin-offs that came from that, all the character designs kind of had that same anchor to the original Batman animated series. The same arm design, same all that stuff, right? Um, Same arm design, same character faces, same like simplified nose, angular heads, jaws, whatever. Everyone had that certain style that they're pulling from back into the Batman. Um, like the Scooby Doo style, everyone stole the Scooby Doo style, and you kind of see that, right? Um, so I'm not a historian when it comes to all this stuff. I rarely am. Uh, but as you start seeing these specific styles, you know what the anchor was that helped that style flourish, right? You know where the root of that was. Um, what was the one that I was thinking about? Yeah. So say we look at. I'm gonna copy and paste something real quick. So like say we look at all these black characters, I'd say majority of them, yeah, have a specific anchor towards uh the white counterparts that really started the story, right? They are black characters, but they're beholden to a specific style that was created mainly for maybe a white character or white centric characters or a white audience, right? So you have that. One of the few people that changed that, I just had it up, that really kind of honed in on black culture was the creation of Fat Albert. Yes, we're gonna have this we're gonna have the Cosby did this thing. Um, and if you have a chance to watch, I can't remember what thing it was. I wish I remember the name of the show too. It was kind of the We Need to Talk About Cosby. I think that's the name of the show. If you have a chance, watch it. It goes on both sides, and in the end, as a black person, it makes you really like on the fence. Yes, what he did was horrible. What he did for us was amazing. And that's the hard problem with being black and loving Cosby and hating Cosby and all that stuff, right? But what did he do? He wanted a show for black audiences. for Black kids. So he made Found Albert, centering the characters within a world where Black characters understood the inner city, which surprisingly enough, that's how Sesame Street was created too, a show for Black kids about the inner city of Brooklyn. Brooklyn or Harlem, one of them. Look up the history. Uh, so at the time, yes, the 70s was a thing where we were trying to get more Black people into uh, being recognized. And yeah, just representation. They're trying to build a lot of representation back, even back as far as the 70s, sometimes 60s, right? Um, so he came up with his own art style for these characters, right? Or the artist who created it, I don't know the artist's name, created his own art style. So when you specifically see these characters, you see a certain style of how they draw heads, how they draw faces, how these characters moved. This essentially is it the beginning? I don't know, but this for me was the beginning of Black animation. No other white character looked like this or moved like this. This was strictly designed for Black characters, right? Um, and as he kind of pioneered that and maybe pioneered it, uh, it only kind of stayed in the Fat Albert bubble. No other animation style ever blossomed beyond that point, right? Um, and so other animation styles happen, and or other character design styles happen, and yes, more these characters were mostly essentially designed for a wide audience with the occasional Black guy. The sad reality of the 80s and 90s where it was, here's the spectrum of people, right? We have to have one Black guy, one Asian guy, one woman, one girl, stuff like that. But you can really feel that like it's pulling from a different style. It doesn't have its own voice. Um, Another moment in time that made me say, "Ooh, that's our style," is when we're introduced to Bebe's kids, right? Character designs. Does it look like something else? I don't know, but it had this one distinct feature, right? Again, the movement, the animation, clearly taking from Black culture. Copy that post. Trying to do something. It's not working. Oh, that's why. The art style of Bebe's kids, it wasn't as like kind of bombastic as it wasn't as like cartoony. Trying to get a and yeah, it wasn't as cartoony as Cosby's characters, right? Right. Baby's kids wanted to make these characters more realistic while still being cartoony. So, simplified heads, the simplified heads, you know, standard cartoony eyes, but they had that nose, the curl, this amazing, awesome curl. Is it better to do this in the pen? Oh, not that big though. There's a nice little curl going on right there to emphasize the concept of a nostril. And I kind of like it in pencil. All right. The baby skate design. Simplified head. Nose with a curl. Lips. Yeah. Bottom lip. Boom. That's the Bebe style, right? I mean, and what's awesome is that works. Baby's Kids was meant for black culture, black people. You know, it just oozed it, and it was like so good. But again, this is an art style where you can look at it and you're like, hey, representation through art, through character design, not just having a character in a world, but it was representation where we were represented from the beginning of pre-production, if that makes sense. So time and time again, like you have these moments where it's like you have these subtle moments where it's just like boom, uh this is an animation style specifically designed for black people, and you're like, this is amazing, I love it, thank you, give us more. And yet we have these moments where we get it and maybe it kind of evolves slightly. Like I think what was the name of this one? I think there was a show after this called I can't remember the name of it. The claymation one. There was a claymation show that came after, which kind of embodied that style, but because they went claymation, it kind of just looked weird. Um, we had a moment where we were introduced to the Proud Family. Again, a little more toned down, but you knew just by looking at the art style, this was black art. This was black character design, right? One of the main things that I love also is the fact that we're also taking one of the cultures that one of the aspects of other cultures that black people love the most, Asian style. And when we got Boondocks, when I think his name was Aaron, I suck at these names, I know it, go ahead and yell at me if you want to. But when Boondocks came out, I've never actually read the comic, and I later I want to like remedy that and actually read it. But religiously watched the cartoon. I mean, amazing, right? But in a way, what's awesome about this style is it took anime and yet you knew it was anime. You knew it wasn't America's attempt at anime. You knew somewhere in the middle of it, this was kind of like how black anime would look like. And what's great is that this is that moment. Boondocks is the moment. I say, I could be wrong, but Boondocks is the moment where finally this is a moment where we took a character design style that feels like it's black oriented, and artist ran with it. It's not Bebe's Kids. It's not Bebe's Kids where the original intent, the original artist tried to keep going with it. but no one like latched onto it. It's not the old what was it? It's not the old Fat Albert. This is a moment where it's like Fat Albert was a moment of its time, and no one really wanted to latch onto that because again, it was black at the time, where as black representation was slowly building up in the 70s and 80s, a lot of people did not want that on TV. So it had no chance of really capturing a big audience. If you wanted to make money, you did what white people wanted, or you copied the major ones that sold. But this is that moment. Boondocks was a moment where everyone latched onto it. It was black anime, the perfect example of what black anime should be, right? Which is great because it's a little bit, it's mostly Japanese, American animation, but strictly focusing on black mannerisms and anime, like, movement and everything else. And it just has its own style to the point where this is now what black comic book artists start to draw. There's an offshoot of this. This is that moment, right? This is the root to black anime, right? Which is awesome. It's great to see that this is the one that just might be the one that started it all, right? Um, so thank you, Lishan. I think his name is for continuing it, right? We get crazier with Black Dynamite. Again, this is that moment where it's like Boondock started something and then just kept building and building and going crazier with it. And now it's not really out there. Randomly, it's out there, but mostly now it's in comics, it's in web comics. You'll start seeing it. The next leap, though, that got me was Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, right? This character has a style. It's not like, I don't know what the difference is. I think with Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, the character is simply more like it's the Disney style, I think is the problem. I think that's it. It's a Disney style. I could be wrong. Um, oh, I was watching something about this. It's kind of not Pixar, but not Pixar style. That's what it was. But the greatness of it is it's the approach to it. It's that painterly, rough, I know, unperfect beauty of just this character, the art style, the animation, the movement, just the fact that it just melds so well. And obviously, I think the moment you realize, well, for me, the moment you realize this was seriously this was black animation was the subway scene where he tags the wall. I don't know why that was the moment where I was like, yes, this is for us. Which is a strange thing to say because none of the other characters in this, like majority of the characters are white characters and or other like pig. um but for some reason it felt like this was geared towards black youth, right? And I don't know what is so special about just the hues that they use, the backgrounds, the character designs, whatever. It just speaks to a black audience, right? It's not trying to be super realistic. It's not trying to be ultra realistic or perfect. It's the colors of the street, maybe the colors of the tags. I don't know. There's something about it that just works. And thankfully, I'm so happy that it kind of worked so well that everyone latched onto it and loved it. So going back to Intergalactic, into a moment where I'm staring at this. I watched the trailer for this thing, and my brain goes, "It's Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse." Wait, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is the new route when it comes to 3D animated black characters or black centric stories. Once I saw this guy and the animation and the movements, the first thing I thought about was Uncle Aaron. Like, seriously, is that the best one? That's not the best shot. I'm trying to figure out the best shot. Whatever. Throw Uncle Aaron up here. Let's go back to that other guy. I mean, it works. No, the strange thing is, I know everyone's gonna look at it and say, "Well, yeah, but it's like League of Legends. League of Legends has done this style before, so it's not really black. It's League of Legends, and I get that. But I don't think with this situation, I don't think it has to do with how the characters are painted to look like paint, like how the characters are created and colored to look like paintings, and how um we're looking for like this texturally feeling. I don't know. I think it's more about the character and the world. That is the key thing to it all. All these characters I talked about, all these stories I talked about, the character alone was just part of the puzzle, right? It was the world they encompassed. You They tailor made the world for these characters to and combined it kind of allows black kids to, or even now in this situation, black adults to see themselves in it, to see their animated character if they wanted to in it. So yeah, it may be like the root of this may actually be from League of Legends and a lot of the trailers and music videos. But to be honest, when I see this, I don't see the painterly feeling of the character's face. I see the beautiful colors, vibrant colors of the backgrounds with these characters on top of it. And now I'm instantly transported back to Spider-Man into Spider-Verse. I see Miles running, flying around, like going crazy in these streets at the same time, you know? And I think that's the difference. When you see a League of Legends background, you don't think of this. You don't think these painterly backgrounds. You think, well, backgrounds that kind of look more realistic. Well, no, they're not really realistic. They're also painted too, but it's a difference of painting to look real or close to CG or painting for just representation. That is a representation of a building. That is a representation of some cars. You don't have to be super realistic to do it. You already know what the basic features are. Does it make you feel good? Does it work with the music? Does it work for the people? Right? I don't know. But I say tell me what you think. That's how I feel about this. But I want to see this grow. I want to see more black anime. I want to see more of this, more CG, painterly, animated characters that are represent Black people. This is the style I would love to continue on for a long time. This is what I want in the future when we think Black anime, Black animation, right? Or for those who like to use the term African American animation. Sorry, Black. Um, so tell me your thoughts. Share if you want to. But I can't wait till this drops. I'm gonna watch this. This is gonna be awesome. All right then. I'll see you later. Bye.